Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome or almost welcome. Um, how is everyone? And how are you doing? So I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna create a banner. Where are you from? Since we are going to chat about we're going to chat about describing a city. It would be really nice to hear about where you are from. So, wait for someone. Okay. Okay, hi guys, how are you? Where are you from? What are your names? I'm Rosa. Nice to meet you, nice to see you. So we have a describing your city focus activity this evening. It should be fun. You can tell us, can you tell me where you're from? Hi Alessandro, welcome. Where are you from, Alessandra? And anybody else watching, where are you from? Is it a big city or a small town, perhaps? Is it next to the sea? Is it in the mountains? Alessandra, yes. I'm also in Milano Filzi. Yes. Very good. It's nice to see you, but virtually. So can you tell us about your city? Are you from Milan? Are you from somewhere else? Can you tell your classmates and anybody else? So let's think. When we have to describe our city, we describe where it is, how big it is. Maybe we can use some adjectives to describe it. So it's big, it's noisy, it's cultural, it's romantic. There can be many different ways of describing a city. So today in this focus, we'll describe a city, say what there is in a city, describe what a city is like, and use some superlatives as well. So, for example, if I want to describe what a city is like, as I was saying, you would say something like it's big, it's noisy. Can you think of other ideas, of other things, other words I can use to describe a city? Do you have any ideas? And what are superlatives? How do we use superlatives? So, and especially in a city, so you will say something like, my city is the most beautiful city or the most interesting city. It is the biggest city, the noisiest city, for example. Okay, any ideas? If you can please type them in the chat box, that would be amazing. Thanks, guys. This here. So, can you think of some adjectives? Can you think of what is there in the city? Okay, so we have here some questions. Yeah, so do you live in the city or the country? What are some advantages of living in a city? And what are some disadvantages of living in a city? What is your city famous for? So think of the vocabulary. Are there any questions on the words, the sentences? Is it all clear? So let's think of advantages and disadvantages of living in a city. Some advantages. Any ideas? And some disadvantages. Any ideas? So, Alessandra, what do you think? What's your opinion? So, in my opinion, the advantages of living in a city are it's comfortable. There are lots of activities. There are, yes, Alessandra, advantages. So advantages means what is better, what helps about living in a city. Yes, what are some of the strong points of living in a city? So, for example, advantages of living in a city, there is transport, you can go to many different activities. Yes, Alessandra. Advantages, there's lots of things to do, exactly. More things to do in the city than maybe in a small village or in a small town, that's right. There are more events, exactly. And yes, so those are some really great advantages. What about the disadvantages of living in the city? Maybe it's noisy. Maybe, well, maybe it's. I wanted to cough, but maybe these days it's not so great. It's polluted. Yes. Yes. Another advantage is there's more services. Very good. Like hospitals and restaurants, all of these you mean, yes? Good, well done. All right. And so Alessandra is from Milan. So what is yes, very good. So disadvantages is that it's polluted. It is polluted or there is pollution, yes? Another, very good, Alessandra. Lots of people on the public transport. Very good. Yes, that is a disadvantage. Sometimes you feel like sardines or anchovies, yes? All stuck in the metro at the same time. It can feel a little bit claustrophobic. Very good. And so if we think of Milan, because we are living in Milan at the moment, what is Milan famous for? Ah, yes, Alessandra. Very good. This one here is actually called the rush hour. Yeah, very good. Exactly. Rush hour. So, rush hour, so that is the time of day where everybody is squeezed into the metro. Exactly. And there's a lot of traffic at rush hour as well because it's the time of day where everybody is going to work or going to school and then coming back from work or from school. Yes. Aha, very good, Ale. So this is a great example. Milano is famous for the Duomo. Exactly. Any other things it's famous for? It's famous for the Duomo, for the castle maybe. So famous for its monuments, but it's also famous for different types of things. The events, so concerts maybe, or what was I thinking of? The fashion. These are some of the examples. Okay, so all right, so here we have different cities around the world. Yes, Alexandra, yes, for concerts. Many international singers and musicians come to Milan to perform because it's considered one of the most one of the biggest or most important cities in Europe, of course. So here we have some different cities from around the world, yes? So we have St. Petersburg in Russia, London, Florence, Amsterdam, New York, Toronto, Rio de Janeiro, Rome, and Paris, la cité de l'amour. In this slide, it says to compare the cities across the world. So we have different adjectives here. We have big, expensive, small, warm, cold, cheap, expensive, yes, dangerous, safe, modern, ugly, beautiful, interesting, exciting, good, and bad. So here we have to make some examples using the superlatives and make examples to talk about the cities. Now, if you have any questions on the vocabulary, on the words, on these adjectives, please type it in the chat box and let me know. I'll be very happy to answer you. So we have big, small, size. Okay. Warm, cold, cheap and expensive are opposites, yeah? So expensive, which one is one of the most expensive cities that you can think of? And for example, which one is the cheapest city you can think of? Dangerous. Which one is the most dangerous? And then we have ugly, so the opposite of beautiful. Okay, so when we want to make the superlative, if we have a short word, a short adjective like big, small, warm, cold, cheap, we make the superlative by adding est to the end of the word. But if our adjective is a long word, so more than 3 syllables, then we make the superlative by adding the most before the superlative, or before the adjective. Okay, so guys, can you think of some examples and type them in the chat box, please? So make some examples using the words provided and the cities. You can use your own cities as well, your own examples of cities if you like. So, for example, in my opinion, the biggest city is London, probably, or Rio de Janeiro. They're both pretty big. So the biggest city is London or Rio de Janeiro. Okay, Michele, very good. Rio de Janeiro is the most dangerous city. Yes, Michele, that's correct. Very good. Well done. That's a really great example. Thank you. All right, any other examples? I'll give you a minute to think about it. So, as Michele just said, the most dangerous. Very good, Alessandra. Well done. Rome is the most interesting. The most because interesting is a long adjective. Good job. All right. Another example. We'll wait for one more and then move on. The most interesting. Nice, Alessandra. Florence is the safest city. Very good. Well done. Good job. All right. So if you guys have any questions, please type it into the chat box. In the meantime, let's see what it says. So it says transportation in your city. What kind of public transportation are there in your city? What is the easiest way to get around in your city? What is the worst time of day to travel in your city? What is the cheapest, most expensive way to travel in your city? Okay, so Michele, where are you from? So Alessandra is from Milan. I am also living in Milan. Where is Michele from and everybody else watching? And if you think of your city, how is the public transport in your city? And let's try to make some examples using the superlatives. So, if we think of Milan, okay, Michele, nice. I live in Florence. Nice. So what kinds of transportation are there in Florence? I imagine it's very similar to Milan. So you have buses. In Milan we have trams. What is it called? The metro in English. Can anybody remember? Okay, so if you can please type into the chat box some public transportations that are in your city and what in your opinion is the easiest, the fastest, the cheapest way to travel, and what is the worst time of day. Alessandra told us before, the worst time of day is probably, we call it rush hour. She had it here, if I can find it again. There it is. So rush hour, the busiest time of day. So that's the most difficult time of day to get around. So, ok, Marcelo. Hello from Meravigli. Oh, that's okay. No worries. I'm happy that you're answering now. So, you are also from Milan. Very good. So, can you think of some answers for the questions? What kind of public transport are there in the city? What's the easiest way to get around in the city? Michele, there is a tramvia and it's the most modern. It is, yes, very good. The most modern, that's a very good superlative. Well done. What is the easiest way to get around, do you guys think? And what is the cheapest or the most expensive way to travel, in your opinion? So, nice, very good. So Marcelo's saying subway or tube. We also have another word for that in British English. We call the subway or the tube, we call it the underground. Yes, Alessandra, good job. It's going by underground. Very good. Yes, Michele, indeed. On foot is the cheapest. On foot or by bicycle, maybe as well. That's pretty cheap. No oil, no gas, no petrol, no ticket. All right. Okay, very good, guys. And what is the most expensive way to travel, do you think? The most expensive. So the one that I have to pay the most money for. Yes, Michele, indeed. By taxi is probably, yes, up there with the most expensive way to travel around the city. All right, great job, guys. So, unless you have any questions, if you do, type them into the chat box. I'll move to the next slide. So, here we have some words, some ways to describe what's your city like. So we have large, ancient, touristy, polluted, chaotic, cultural, expensive, lively, very dirty, big, historical, art, theater, music, etc. Crowded, full of activity, not cheap, and very busy or noisy. Marcelo says taxi is the easiest way too. So yes, it's the most expensive, but also the easiest because you just jump in, go to where you have to go, and then jump off, and that's it, finished. It is easy. That's right. Okay, so guys, this is an activity that you should complete if possible. We have to match the word to its meaning. All right, here we have Michele saying Florence is the most cultural and is expensive as expensive as Milan. Very good. So you put in there a superlative and a comparative. Very good. Well done. Oh, good job. Well done. So Can you think of the word and its significance? So, large, what is a synonym for large? A synonym for large. So, a large city can also be an ancient city. So, ancient, what does it mean? Ancient means very historical, with lots of art. Yes, Alessandra, large, big, exactly. Ancient, so for example, Florence is a very ancient city. Lots of art, lots of history. And touristy. Florence, again, is also very touristy. Alessandra, yes. Ancient. Historical. What about touristy? What is another word that means with a lot of tourists, with a lot of people? A lot of tourists and a lot of people. And polluted. What is an example of a polluted city? Hello, welcome. All right, so polluted, chaotic. Hi, Nancy. Okay, so we're just matching the words to their significate or to a synonym. So we're looking at a word that also means touristy out of the other options you have on the opposite side. Michele says Rome is the most polluted. Yeah, I guess so. So what's another way that we have of saying polluted? Alessandra says touristy may be crowded. It is, Alessandra, that's correct. So a city with a lot of tourists, with a lot of tourism, means it has many people, and a crowd means a lot of people. So if a place is crowded, it means there are a lot of people, which is the same as touristy. So good. We have polluted, this word, chaotic. What does chaotic mean, guys? Do you know? Chaotic comes from chaos, which is similar to the Italian word. So, what does it mean? And if we have a cultural city, what does that mean? What happens in a very cultural city? Marcelo says very dirty for polluted. It is very good. Well, not very good for the city, but very good answer. Correct answer. Well done. All right, so polluted, chaotic, then we have cultural, then we have expensive. So we were saying earlier, for example, Paris is the most expensive city, or for example, London is one of the most expensive cities. What is the opposite of expensive? And what is its synonym? Okay, chaotic, we have Yes, Michele, very good. The opposite of expensive is cheap. So the synonym of expensive is okay, guys. So we have chaotic, which is very busy. Yes, Marcelo, very good. Then we have cultural. Cultural means with a lot of art, theater, music, etc. Then we have expensive, Marcelo said is not cheap. Well done. And the last is lively. A lively city means full of activity. So in general, cities are very lively. Yeah, lots of events, music, culture. Yes, good. So a city where you can go sightseeing can have all these different features. It can be touristy. It can have. It can be cultural. It can be lively. So, do you guys like sightseeing and do you travel? Now, it would be very, very nice if you could tell me something about your city. So, give me an example of what your city is like. So, you see at the top here, we have the red question. It says, what's your city like? So, if you could type into the chat box, what's your city like? That would be wonderful. In the meantime, I'll tell you about my city. So I live in Milan, but Milan is not my city. My city is not a city. My city is a village. So I come from a village, a small town. And so it is small. It is very touristy because I grew up a little bit in Edinburgh, and a little bit in Cinque Terre. So Cinque Terre is very touristy. It's so it's not polluted and not so much culture as in art, theater, music, but we like we have a food culture perhaps, and it's not cheap. And it is very busy, especially in summer. So, what is your town like? What is guys? Can you describe it? Can you tell me about it? Okay, while I wait for your answers, I'm going to move on to the next slide. If you can please type and tell me something about your city, that would be great. All right, so here we have on the one of the sorry. So St. Peter's Basilica is one of the largest cathedrals in the world. The Louvre is one of the most famous museums in the world. Now here we have some sentences to complete. Is one of the interesting places to visit in my city. Is one of the touristy places in the city. Is one of the beautiful beaches in my country. Is one of the good places to eat in my city. Tall buildings in my city is. Oh, wonderful, guys. We have some answers coming through. So, Alessandra says, I live in Milan, but it's not my city. My city is Agrigento, that is small, very touristy in summer, cultural, but it's a cheap city. All right, good job, Alessandra. That's a perfect example. Well done. Well, Nancy says, my city, Bergamo, is touristy, cultural, not too expensive, isn't dirty. It isn't dirty, so it's not polluted. All right, Nancy, very good. That's a very good example. Here we have Michele saying, you live in a small city called Montelupo near Florence. It's not polluted and there are many parks and churches there. Oh, the churches. There isn't a hospital. All right, so you're saying what there is and what there isn't, which is really, really good example as well. Well done, Michele. Thank you. And then we have Caterina saying, from Terrazza, Livorno is one of the most interesting places to visit in my city. All right, very good. Also, Caterina says, sightseeing is one of the most touristy places in the city. Is that sentence okay? Because sightseeing is, okay, is when you visit some of the most important in a city. So sightseeing is one of the most touristy places in the city. So sightseeing is an action, so it's not a place. Okay, Caterina? So if you go sightseeing, you could say one of the most touristy places in the city where you can go sightseeing is, for example, the castle or the church, the biggest church, the cathedral, okay? Okay, so let's thank you very much for all your contributions, guys. They were very, very, very good. So here we have some sentences, some guidelines, yes? So we can complete these sentences while talking about our own city. Yes, Michele, Duomo is the most interesting, he says. Very good. So you can complete the sentence. So Duomo, the Duomo, so you need to put the article. The Duomo is one of the most places to visit in my city. Nice. So, what about the other ones? Touristy, beautiful, beaches in my country. What is one of the most beautiful beaches in my country, guys? Or good places to eat. What is the superlative of good? Can anybody remember? It is irregular. Okay. Caterina says, the port is one of the most touristy. The most touristy, Caterina, yes, places in, because is already 3 syllables long, so you can't say touristiest because it's just too long. So you put the most in there. The most touristy places in the city. Very good. Okay, Alessandra says, valuable Temples is one of the most touristy places in my city. Very good. The Valley of Temples. Nice. That sounds very interesting. Caterina says one of yes, Caterina, well done. So Caterina is answering my question. What is the superlative of good? It's the best. Good job. So give me some restaurant advice, guys. What are some of the best places to eat in your city? Nancy says Casone is one of the best food to eat in Bergamo. So is Casone, is it a place or a type of food, Nancy? Because if it's a restaurant, then you have to say is one of the best restaurants in Bergamo. Here you see in the sentence it says places to eat. So it's talking about places, yeah? Casone is one of the best places to eat in my city. If you say the best food, it sounds like you're talking about a specific dish. So if you say pizza is one of the best foods to eat in Bergamo, then that would be okay. So I'm not sure if Casone is a restaurant or a food, but be careful with that. Okay, and okay, so Michele, careful. Good in the superlative is best. Better is Michele, so you say Michelangelo Square is one of the best places best places to eat in my city. All right, Caterina says pizza is one of the best food to eat in Italy, in particular in Napoli. Very good, Caterina. Well done. All right. Alessandra says in my city there are lots of good places to eat. I can't choose one. All right. Fair enough, Alessandra. That's good. Okay, so here we had some examples. Anyway. Okay, guys. So any more examples that you want to give before we start repeating what we have learned today? So we had some very, very good examples here, yeah? So remember, when we do superlatives, if it's a long word, such as interesting, the superlative is made by saying the most interesting place to visit is blah, blah, blah. If we have a small word, for example, this lovely sentence by Caterina, one of the tallest buildings in Pisa is its particular tower. Very good. What a nice sentence. So if it's a small adjective like tall, then the superlative is made by adding est to the end. The tallest building in Pisa is its tower. Okay. Then remember, if you have some irregular adjectives like good, bad, a lot, okay, then we have to change those, and we can't use the est anymore. It changes, so it becomes a different word. For example, good becomes the best. Okay. All right, guys. So what else did we look at today? So What is there in your city? So, for example, Katerina says, very good. These are the irregular superlatives for us by Katerina. Well done. So we have the best, the worst, the farthest. The most are irregular superlatives. Very good. Well done. So the best is from good, worst is from bad, far, far away, and more, most. All right, good job. So, uh, what is there in your city? You can say there is, there are, and you can talk about activities and monuments and things to do. Then we discussed about some adjectives to describe a city. Can you remember some? We said to the question, what is your city like? You can say, well, my city is polluted, it's busy, it's chaotic, it's cultural, it's interesting, it's modern, it's ancient. Okay? Then we discussed about transport. So we discussed what is the best or the worst time to travel. What is the cheapest or the most expensive way to travel around your city? Okay. And then we discussed about some of the most interesting parts of your city. So we use the superlatives to talk about something that is the most interesting or the best place to eat, perhaps the most touristy. Okay. All right, guys. Do you have any questions to ask before we say goodbye? Okay, so if not, I think there may be a small delay on these answers. All right, so hopefully everything is clear. Thank you for attending the class. And remember the difference between the long adjective and the short adjective. So the long word, we add the most to make the superlative, and est to the short words. All right, I'm just gonna wait see if there's any questions. If not, then I wish you a good week, a good evening, and hopefully see you again soon. Okay, so here we have. Okay, guys, no questions? All right then. Okay, see you soon. Have a lovely evening and good night, everyone. Thank you. Goodbye, Sandra. Hopefully see you soon. Goodbye, Michele. Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Goodbye. It was lovely to have you. Bye, guys. See you.